Hi guys and welcome to D6 Evolution. I'm Wes and this is...
Andy. Hey guys. Today we're talking about what we think is going to be in the new chapter approved.
You mean this one?
No, we're not. We'll never be trusted with the new. This is the old one.
This
guys,
is the old one. But
yeah. One day GW will trust us.
absolutely.
Just not today.
Just not you.
Yeah. Never me.
No, I wouldn't trust you.
No. So, buddy, chapter approved. What's your thoughts?
Man, I'm pumped for it actually.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while now since we've had the last one. Almost a year, some might say.
It's been a while since the last change, hasn't it? Like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really hitting it, aren't they, actually, in terms of like changes all the time.
I know.
I think that's probably another discussion itself.
That's something to be talking about. But let's talk chapter approved.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to some changes. Sisters of Battle, that's we know that's going to be in there.
Yes. I'm a Sisters player and it is going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm hoping to make them even more broken.
I think they toned it down a little bit.
No. No one wants toning down. So, anyway, let's talk about... Obviously, we're going to be talking about what we think is going to be the winners, the losers of Chapter Approved, but we're also going to be talking about what's in the book.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be missions. I think we'll see new missions in that, because in the old book there was missions in there. Some narrative,
Yeah.
some open play, and some match play missions, probably.
Yeah. I mean, speaking about missions, I was a huge fan of the progressive missions from last year.
Yeah, it's
You know,
nice change, actually.
score a point for each objective per turn, a bit like what the ITC do, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was really cool just having progressive missions, and I think they'll probably expand on that a bit more, just rather than these old sort of end game objectives things they always do.
Yeah, but I think progression mission is the way to go, actually.
Yeah, so it'll be really cool to see if they sort of spice things up. I mean, last year they definitely had some losers. The old, what was it, Recon, when half your army came or something? We played that at one tournament, that was weird.
Yeah, I've never actually played that one. I've gone every time I've just switched out for different missions.
Yeah. But yeah, let's hope they do some new sort of Eternal War missions with a twist, because that'll be awesome. Do you know what I'm hoping for most of all? The thing I really, really want? I want a rule book.
You want a rule book?
I want, genuinely, guys, this is it. I actually want them to include a little rule book which actually tells you how to play 40k as we actually play it.
Do you know, actually, that'd be a really good idea.
Because you know you got one, was it one of those special editions of... you get loads of rule books, don't you? I didn't buy them, but...
I've got this special edition one, which is actually a small one.
Yeah, a bit like what you had in 7th edition, this tiny little rule book, and it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, just all the rules in one place.
Yeah, you don't want this giant tomb of a thing, which is the the rule book as we've got at the moment, which is completely out of date. So yeah, I genuinely would love, like, if you saw a chapter approved with a little rule book in it.
They kind of did that with Age of Sigmar, actually, when it first came out. All the books would actually have the rules in the back. That's when it's just like 4 pages. But
Yeah.
I would like to see almost chapter approved to be the new edition of the rules every year.
Or they could include, like, I don't know, some of the rulebook FAQs at the back, just keep it sweet, so you've got less things you've got to bring along.
Yeah, in fact, a point where all the rules, all the FAQs, and kept in one place. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Well, at some point we'll have to show you what Wes does, but he's actually made his own little book up, which is his codex with the FAQs and his codex FAQs all in one place, and it works so well for games, doesn't it?
Yeah, I got frustrated with carrying so many books around all the time.
Yeah.
And trying to find different things in different places, but I've got it all there and it's all tabbed up, and it just saves me minutes in a game, really, so
Yeah.
I find it very helpful.
Yeah.
So what else would you think? Points? That's going to be a key part of the new book.
Yeah, come on, let's get on to the key.
Oh, I know, that's the meat, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Should we go for winners or losers first?
Let's go for winners, I think.
Yeah. Because I think this is probably going to be the biggest point of it, isn't it? Because, like you were saying earlier, we had a little bit of a talk off camera, didn't we? About, do you think points are going to go up or do you think points are going to go down?
Yeah, so I was pretty much to the conclusion I think points would generally go down in places rather than going up.
Yeah, you had some really good reasons why, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's all about...
Trying to get into the mind of GW, weren't you?
Well, it's all about game balance, and game balance comes from points.
Yeah.
So you can either bring something, if it's something that's really powerful, you can either increase its points, or you can decrease the points of everything else around it. And I think generally by increasing points, you get that feel badsies.
Yeah, you don't want the thing you've got, the Castellan, to be like just pointed out of existence, do you? Because it sucked. When I used to run 2 Fire Raptors, it was great for 2 months, last chapter approved, and then it sucked again because... And I felt really bad. I spent a lot of time painting those and playing with them, and it's... Yeah.
But rather than doing that, I think they've done those big changes now in the last edition and over the past few FAQs.
Yeah.
So I think actually the other way to do the game balance is if something's strong, bring other things, round it down. And
Yeah, rather than that knee-jerk reaction to nerf something out of existence.
Yeah.
I thought one of the changes they did best in the last chapter, I think it was the last chapter of Proof they did, was they changed Reapers. They put them up a few points, but they didn't break them.
No. It was just enough to...
Just enough to make them competitive still, but they weren't an auto-include.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'm hoping that we'll see some points drops, points drops across a lot of codexes to bring them a bit more in line.
Okay. What's your top 3 factions you think need a points drop?
Space Marines, I think. Primaris, I think they're just a little bit too pointed for what they actually do, and you don't necessarily see that many top Primaris armies.
Yeah, I mean, that 3-up save they get is just not worth that much. I mean, there's so many things in the game, they're rocking a -3 AP, aren't they? Like your entire bloody Dark Eldar army.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... It's almost worthless It's almost worthless, isn't it?
I think so. And the extra wound doesn't really do that much.
No. I think it's overvalued by GW. The 3-up save, the 2 wounds, it's just... There's so much 2 damage out in there, it's just... Yeah. No. That's not what we say. I think Space Marines, the rules are okay. They probably do need better rules in general, but I think a point drop would definitely help.
Yeah, I think the Primaris themselves are just in a very interesting position right now.
Yeah.
When you take the rest of the Space Marine stuff aside and you just strip out the Primaris.
I mean, Primaris aren't an army by themselves. They don't have a codex by themselves for a reason. Obviously, in a couple of years' time, they will be a full force, but until then, they're just not, are they?
Yeah, so it's essentially they've got the troops and they've got a dreadnought and they've got that tank that just has a boring number of shots involved in it.
Yes, it does.
So they just need something different, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say there.
You guess you're absolutely right, Wesley.
Yeah,
you'd be right.
It's clearly what I was going to say. Yeah, go on, you better say something while I get my thoughts in order.
Yeah, so other things do we think need to change as well?
I mean, I think keeping on the Space Marine theme for the moment, things like Terminators. I don't know if you could ever make a Terminator good, but you could probably make it better by a points decrease, couldn't you?
Points decrease, or maybe... I don't think they're going to change rules.
No.
I think the data sheets we've got right now are...
You say that. You say they're not going to change rules, but look what they just... they've started changing Legion stratagems, didn't they? With the Alpha Legion, with the Space Marine version of that as well. And there is a little bit of a rumour going around that actually these -1 to hit factions, particularly the Eldia, Altiop and that sort of thing, they're actually going to maybe just be counted as in cover.
Okay.
Because actually stacking these minuses to hit, I think GW knows is a mistake. Because if you look at, I don't think there's been any after the Eldar Codex which had it, did they?
Well, in fact, the Dark Eld and the Harlequins have it. So
no, but that's part of their data sheets, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't have a faction
that has that.
Like a chapter tactic which makes you -1 to hit, do you?
No, it's...
And I think, after the Eldar, they realised that actually if you're -1 to hit, you're a flyer, you can do some sort of crazy extra minuses to hit, and it all just gets a bit silly. And it is actually a slightly negative part of the game where people just don't feel they can do anything against an army.
And because that -1 is at the beginning of the maths equation, it just makes it a lot more powerful than actually having it at the end, which is the saving roll itself.
Yeah. Or they may go the other way on things. If you looked at the latest the Orc Codex, it was 6 always hit. That is their army ride rule. I think it's Daka, isn't it?
Yeah.
6 always hit, and maybe they may even introduce that just into the rules in general, that a 6, an unmodified 6, always hits.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'd buy into that.
Yeah, so
it's similar to Wound actually as well, isn't it? That always.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't actually think that's a stretch of the imagination to do that. Equally well, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed that minus to hit faction.
No.
It'd definitely be a change. I'm not a huge fan of them changing the codexes that much, because I think it makes it all a bit messy, like people trying to get into the hobby, but overall it'd probably be a reasonable thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So right, going back on topic, because we kind of went off there a bit. So things which need a buff. I mean, should we talk about Grey Knights? The elephant in the room, which is Grey Knights.
Yeah, they do need still a bit more, don't they?
They need a lot more. Because they're not I think like Primaris and normal Marines, they maybe don't have the rules, but Grey Knights are actually got some pretty damn decent rules.
Just pointed just a little bit too.
Yeah, they're just
inefficient.
I mean, I think in a game where, let's face it, elite armies are at a significant disadvantage to start with.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
The way Smite works and the rest of mortal wounds just going out, that actually elite armies they're in a bad place to start with, and then they're just disproportionately costed, aren't they?
Yeah, they're kind of almost as elite as Custodies, but without the staying power.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they suffer by not having the Primaris treatment in some respect.
Yeah.
And I think that'll probably come at some point. I think we'll see Primaris Grey Knights.
They would look awesome. They would look amazing, I think.
Absolutely.
So, what other things do you think need a bit of a buff?
I think maybe Necrons. I think Necrons could do a little bit.
Yeah, and I think any factions really who don't have an ally tree, maybe apart from Orcs, which are really powerful, just need that little bit of a buff. And hopefully they can bring something so the rest of the faction up, so it's not just Tesseract bolts.
Yes.
And destroyers.
If you're seeing that much of a few units, then
you've got the codex wrong. You've designed it fundamentally wrong. If
what was it, Space Marines and the Blood Angels and Smash Captains, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the only thing good about Space Marines is their characters, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much at the moment.
Because that character keyword's really strong. Right, let's talk about nerfs.
What do you want to see nerfed?
What do I fear will be nerfed? I've got a feeling that Custodies will be nerfed.
You think?
This is a bit controversial, and I think this comes back to when was Chapter Approved actually written. Because Chapter Approved isn't being written at the moment. It was written, how many months ago now?
It must have been at least 4 months ago, I imagine.
Yeah.
Like to go through
4 or 5 months
editing and then
ago.
publication is kind of
So, Custodies were kind of a real big thing back then. I don't think they're a thing anymore. Or maybe it's just me sucking at playing Custodies, but actually...
Probably are a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully GW here, they go, all right, Andy really sucks at playing Custodies. He needs... Yeah, let's just leave him alone, but...
We'll see.
I think the other thing is they're a bit of an obnoxious army if you bring them into a game store.
Yep.
And by obnoxious, I mean taking loads of jet bikes. But actually, nearly every army I play against has an answer to that, don't they?
I think jet bikes are just a little bit too efficient. So I think they possibly need a bit of a points increase.
Yeah.
And I think possibly the rest of the codex needs a bit of a points decrease to balance out that.
I think some way of actually forming, their troops not being 150 points for 3 guys. I think they're even a bit more expensive than that. It's a bit ridiculous. But I think shield captains, they are one of the bad guys of 40k at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
Shield captains. To a lesser extent, the standard jet bike squads. They're, like you say, maybe a little bit efficiently pointed, but actually, if you nerf those guys.
Yeah,
I don't think Custodies have a leg to stand on in a competitive setting, which would be quite sad.
I think they need a subtle tweak. I think they need a little bit of a points increase, just a couple of points, and then I think the other ones need a bit of a drop.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool to actually play Custodies and borrow the rest of your stuff. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah, I just kept half my armies from his house the other day. It was getting a little bit ridiculous. I had a fear that I wasn't going to get them back.
Yeah, all that stuff I do on the Tactics channel is all Wes's models.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, or Alice has painted a few of them for me.
Do you ever paint models? Have you ever painted one?
I got accused of a guy in the comment section of never painting my own models, actually.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, I thought he'd bang on, really.
Have you ever actually read the rules?
I don't have a rule book. You guys just, I'm doing all these tutorials on how to play. I don't actually own the rule book.
Oh well.
Not that it tells you how to play the game, anyway.
Yes.
No. I think if you say the rules with enough confidence, people believe you.
You've got a long way in life with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go, I've even made a tactics video on how you play this. I know this.
Have you got one of your tactics videos out during a game? Look.
This guy said all about it.
Yeah. This guy's all over it. He looks remarkably like you. Yeah, he's ugly. Oh, good.
Yes, let's see what the handsome man said on the
I haven't put any up yet. It's been a while.
So what we're talking about, Custodies. But essentially they've got 3 good units, haven't they? They've got the Banner guy, who actually is starting to get mixed into a lot of Imperial lists now, isn't it? With the Fearless bubble and things like that, and the 5-up in runs. Well, I don't think he's well known enough to get nerfed, but I think the jet bikes, they're in danger. Which will be sad, because actually you really struggle to get a good match against anyone now in a competitive setting. But GW does not make rules changes for competitive people as much as it does normal people.
No.
And I think at a games store level, they're too powerful.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, in fact...
In a competitive setting, they struggle.
Yeah, they're making game for the mass, as opposed to the extreme level, which is the high-end tournaments.
Yeah.
Which make the smaller number of the gaming populace.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sometimes a little bit narrow-sided where I just think it's all about tournament play, because that's the only people I hang around with. And Wes brings me back down to earth. He tells me, he goes, yeah, Andy, it's not. It's as much just all about you.
It's not all about smashing people in the face, Andy. It really isn't.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start writing you some fun lists to play with. Don't worry about that.
So what about Eldar? Eldar are usually the... I think they've kind of come out a little bit unscathed at a lot of the previous FAQs and points changes, haven't they? Considering how powerful that overall faction is.
I think if you strip away the Elatok,
they're still remarkably efficient for what they do.
They're still efficient, they're still good,
but
they're not ridiculous. Yeah, they're not ridiculously good. But it's the Elatok that makes them very polarising in that sense.
And Yunari.
Yunari as well.
Yunari always gets nerfed, no matter what FAQ it is. They're like, and fuck you, Yunari.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just a little thing on the end of it.
It's a personal thing. I want to see Samhan, a new trait for Samhan, because unless you've got a jet bike, it's not very good.
Yeah.
It only benefits jet bikes, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Close combat as well, but there are very few units that really... It doesn't really fit in the theme so much of the Samhan, which I find a little bit disappointing.
I mean, speaking of jet bikes, what do you think about Shining Spears?
I think they'll get a subtle points increase.
Yeah.
Just subtle. I don't think they need too much. I think with the changes to the FAQ in the last FAQs, I think.
Yeah.
Got a bit of a knockback in that. I don't think the actual unit itself needs too much. Just maybe 2 points.
Yeah. Just a little something. They are a very powerful unit, but I think the problem with that unit comes from a bigger problem, which is buff stacking. And whether or not they address that or not, but actually when you give it a 5 up, feel no pain, you boost its invuln and its armour save, and you make it an extra -1 to hit with a stratagem, and then all of a sudden you've got some god awful unkillable unit which can Yunari soul burst everywhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think they'll change anything like buff stacking, because I think that's probably a bit too much.
And lots of things have to fall into place for that to happen. And it's a very extreme end.
Yeah.
Taking the unit as an individual unit by itself without its buffs, I think it's there or thereabouts. It's only when you add those buff extremes that it makes it.
Yeah, like things like Zangors and things like that do have the same sort of thing as well. Other things which may get a little bit of a points increase.
Do you think knights need any more?
I think there's 2 knights which potentially may get changed. Everyone's talking about the Castellan. I've played against the Castellan quite a lot, and it's powerful. It's definitely powerful. In a knight's army, it's not that overdone. It's the whole crazy amount of CP to make it really work, and it does do a lot of damage. But maybe it'll go up a little bit because it's been the poster boy of sort of being the big bad guy in 40k at the moment.
It's a great looking model though, isn't it?
It's wicked, and to a certain extent I don't see them nerfing a model that just blow out. I just don't see it happening. Or maybe they'll just put it up a little bit. What they're not going to do is point it out of existence. Or Simon will cry.
He will cry. He spent a lot of time doing that.
Yeah. Guys, we should have a battle report out with his Imperial Knights very soon, hopefully. Our last couple of battle reports have failed, and we're not going to talk any more about that, but apparently a battle report which only does 1 turn is just not worth making.
Not at all.
No.
But when we do get these battle reports out, we have some exciting things to be looking forward to.
Yeah, and they won't just all be Simon doing crotch shots of me and whoever I'm playing against.
Oh, didn't that get good reviews?
You did. Oh, that Ned's battle report.
Oh, bless.
It was all crotch. It's so cringeworthy when you watch it.
He's been fired. He's not allowed near any public buildings anymore either.
He's not.
So. We don't talk about that.
But I think Imperial Knights, Castellan's probably going up a little bit just because it's got some bad press recently. But actually, it keeps a lot of the other things in the game in check, like Magnus, Morty, and offensively Imperial Guard, tank lists, and all these sort of things. It just keeps everything else in check, so it's probably not the most terrible thing in the world.
I'm going to say, overall, I don't think there's anything too drastic that needs to be changed right now.
No.
I think over the past 2 FAQs we've had and the previous chapter approved, I think balance is there or thereabouts. I think that overall is bringing some of those factions up a little bit.
Yeah.
Such as...
The rules mechanics in general are pretty sweet. It's just that there's that now, because we've had that little bit of a codex creep. That, you've got your Dark Eldar, your Eldar on one end, and probably Orcs. And at the bottom end, you've got your Space Marines, your Grey Knights. And like we say, we tried to film a battle report with, with your Primaris, and it just...
It lasted a turn.
Yeah, I didn't even bring that heavy-handed a list, but it was just, you can see some of the disparities there, and that's such a shame. So hopefully that fixes some of that. Going back to the Knights, the other one, I think, the Gallant.
Yep.
It's just a little bit too cheap, isn't it? It's a really fun thing. I love Gallants. I think the gameplay mechanics around trying to block Gallants from doing anything is really good fun, but they're probably a little bit cheap.
I agree.
Yeah,
I do, like I say, I do enjoy route blocking. Knights.
Yeah,
It's so stone.
Yeah, and the last thing that I think probably needs a points change is, let's talk a bit about hordes. In particular, I can bring a battalion for 180 points. Yeah, and GW knows I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The Loyal 32.
Yes.
Do you think they're on the chopping block?
No, I think for what they are, they're pointed correctly.
Yeah,
it's not the points of the model there that's the issue. It's the mechanic in terms of
it gives you 5 CP.
The command points for those.
I mean, I think that's a wider. Actually, should 180 points give you 5 CP? Probably not, but
how within the context of the larger game, I think it's very difficult without some bigger changes.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's not going to happen in this chapter approved. What you probably find is company commanders go up. Will probably be the least offensive option for Imperial Guard players. Maybe that the Imperial Guard, they go up a point.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Or maybe they get away with it. Just maybe.
Maybe.
Same thing with cultists. Hordes and 40k are strong. I think cultists, I've just bought a bunch of cultists. I'd love them to stay at 4 points. I do think they will. Coupled with that, Abaddon's Fearless Bubble, they're really strong. Same with Zangors as well.
It's very interesting when you start thinking about from a games designer's point of view of how they balance these things. Do they point the model for what the individual model is?
Yeah.
Or do they factor in all these crazy combinations that can happen with other miniatures as well to factor that into their points cost? And I think that's very difficult.
It is.
So I don't think if Abaddon makes him that good, I don't think.
Well, that's in the same codex.
Yeah, I don't think making the guards or in this case the cultists more expensive is the right way to do it.
Well, you see, Abaddon's like 200 and something points. I mean, he's meant to do that.
Yeah, so I think tweaking the points of those characters, the ones that can have those crazy effects in the game, that's where you need to put the points to increase.
Yeah, I think so, because actually if you suddenly start making a cultist 5 points, then he's as good as an Imperial Guard. They're both toughness 3. One's got a 5 up save, and one's got a 6 up save. You're like, actually, you're paying the same points for something which is just worse.
Yeah.
Has worse leadership, has worse... it's just generally worse.
Yeah, and I'm sure they do comparisons like that, and that's why they will be a point cheaper.
Yeah. So guys, let us know what you think about Chapter Approved. Leave your comments below. Obviously, we haven't actually got a clue what's actually coming up. This is not the real copy.
One day, very soon. Maybe.
One day we will be trusted with it.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Right, take care, guys.
See you again.